You know, we're surrounded by noise all the time. But what if you could actually find the signal in all that chaos? What if you could turn it into clarity? Well, today we're going to dig into a remarkable framework designed to do exactly that. And it's all told through the incredible story of the person who built it.
Okay, let's just start right here. Take a second and really imagine that feeling. You're on a quiet beach. There's a small breeze, sun on your face. That feeling of calm, of being in control, that right there, that's what stability feels like. And the whole point of the system we're about to explore is to help you design more days that feel just like that.
So how do you even get there? Well, this is the story of Muhammad Ali. He builds trading systems for busy people who want clarity and control, not just more noise. So look, if you're someone who really cares about preserving your capital, about clarity, and about having freedom with your time, then his story is definitely for you.
But to really get this system, you got to understand where it came from. And the world it was born in, well, it started with absolute chaos.
All right, so Muhammad's journey starts in Syria. And for him, school wasn't, books and friends. It was alarms, it was smoke, and it was empty classrooms. With no real plan, his family fled to the Turkish border with pretty much nothing but courage and this hope that tomorrow could be better. From there, it was on to Austria, where he had to start completely from scratch, learning German and English just to get into high school.
And that time in Turkey, before he even got to Austria, it all came down to one number, 12. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, working in factories, all for just a few dozen dollars a month. This was way more than a job. It was a crash course in survival.
And this is how he sums it up. Scarcity taught me speed, resilience, and progress on command. When you're up against pressure you just can't change, you learn how to change your path. And those lessons became the absolute bedrock for the discipline he was going to need later on.
So you have to ask, right? How does a foundation like that prepare you for what's next? Well, after surviving literal physical chaos, he decided to walk right into a brand new kind, the chaos of the financial markets. He actually got into trading because, and I love this, he says it forces you to meet yourself. And at first, that meeting was a complete disaster. Just like pretty much everyone who starts out, he was chasing hot tips, looking for that perfect entry, and just following what other people were doing. And the result? Totally predictable. Zero edge, just a whole lot of noise.
And this right here is the whole game changer. He had a realization. He was asking the completely wrong question. He stopped asking, how do I guess right? And he started asking something way more powerful. How do I decide right? And that one little shift from trying to predict to learning how to prepare changed everything. Okay, so asking that new question, it unleashed an absolute mountain of work. This was not some overnight fix. It started with more than 10,000 hours in the live markets, just watching, learning, and logging every single decision he made.
But here's the thing. Markets are only half the equation, right? He knew that. So he matched all that market time with another 10,000 hours focused purely on psychology, on really understanding the biases and the mental traps that make us all make bad decisions under pressure.
And to top it all off, he put over 100 different indicators and strategies to the test. The goal here wasn't to find some magic bullet. It was the opposite. It was to systematically figure out what didn't work, to finally separate the real signal from all that noise.
So after all that work, all that pressure and testing, something finally emerged. And that solution is called STOA, the Structured Trading Operating Architecture.
All right, so let's break down what STOA actually is. It's a clean 4-step process, and it's designed to be run in under 90 minutes a day. First up, context. This is about getting the lay of the land. You read the market's volume, sentiment, and liquidity to figure out what kind of market you're in. Next is bias. This is where you use a quick 11-minute checklist that forces you to be clear about your directional view. No more emotional guessing. Then, you plan. This is your roadmap. You map out your key levels, you define your exact risk, and you write down your triggers before you ever place a trade. And finally, you execute and review. You just follow the plan, and after the trade, you log what you learned. It's a full, repeatable loop.
So, why does any of this even matter? Why bother with a system? Well, it boils down to this really powerful idea. Capital is just stored time. When you protect your capital, you're protecting your time, your future. You're literally buying yourself options in life. A system like this just helps you make cleaner decisions and gives you a process that actually works with a real schedule. Now, if you come from a world of building things, if you're a founder or a developer, this analogy is going to hit home. Think of STOA like a build pipeline, but for your trading. You've got clear inputs, you've got clean systematic steps, and you get measurable outputs. It's a process you can actually trust when things get intense.
Look, we all know that in the world of trading, talk is incredibly cheap. So the next part of this whole framework is built on one simple rule: proof over promises.
And this isn't about some black box or secret sauce. The entire thing is built on total transparency. That means losing weeks are shown right there next to the winning ones. There are no fuzzy promises about profits, just a solid process. Every claim is time-stamped with proof, the whole methodology is public, and seats are limited on purpose to make sure the quality stays high.
So this really frames the choice every single trader has to make. You can absolutely build a system like this yourself, but as you can see on the left, that road probably means 10,000 plus hours of trial and error and a lot of money spent on tools, courses, and, well, mistakes. The other option, on the right, is to get the system that's already been through the fire, just the parts that worked, with risk management built in from day one.
And it's super important to be clear on this point. STOA is purely for education. This is not financial advice. It is not about giving you tips or signals. The entire goal is to give you the tools and the framework to build a decision-making process that you can actually trust.
Okay, so if this way of thinking, this systematic approach, is resonating with you, the next question is pretty simple. Where do you begin?
Getting started is actually really simple, and there's no big commitment. First thing, you can download the free one-page bias checklist. Just try it for a week and see how it feels. Second, go check out the Proof Hub online and see the time-stamped results for yourself. And then, when you feel ready, you can book a free 15-minute desk audit to go over your own trades and see how a system could work for you.
So let's just circle all the way back to the beginning. Remember that beach, that feeling of calm, of stability. That's not something that just happens by luck. It's something you create. It's something you design. It comes from building a real process. So the only question left is, are you ready to build yours?